This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Hi, we are ready to go. We are ready to rock. So is George Richards. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at georgerichards.com or at George Richards, I'm sorry, on Twitter. How you doing, George? How you hanging in there, my man?
Well, hi, Orlando. How are you, bud? What's going on?
I am very good, sir. I cannot complain unless the Panthers don't do something. So talk to me.
This is a big week. This is a big week for the Panthers.
Why? Why is it a big week? Educate us.
We've got the NHL draft, which starts on Thursday. 2-day event. First round on Thursday in Montreal, and then rounds 2nd through 7th. 2nd through 7th round on Friday. Florida does not have a first-round pick or a second-round pick. They won't be picking until the 3rd round. No big deal. So what? It's going to be some kid nobody's ever heard of. The big thing is this is where trades go down. The NHL draft is where a lot of the work gets done. A lot of the trades get made. Florida Panthers right now, $3 million under the salary cap. It'll be about $6 when you factor in Anthony Duclair's $3 million.
Right.
He'll go on long-term injured reserve to at least start the season. He's got the Achilles tendon. He had surgery on that. But with him probably coming back by the All-Star break, that money's going to jump back in at some point, unless you do a Tampa Bay Lightning deal where you leave him on LTIR the entire season and then activate him for the playoffs. In an 82-game season, that's hard to do. That would really be a deal that wouldn't be good for the Panthers nor for Anthony Duclair. So Panthers have to make some moves. They have to create some cap space. They have to make some deals. There's probably going to be some players moved here. And this will be the week that some of that at least gets started. There'll be something that goes down this week.
So who's that something that goes down? Who gets shipped? Who's out?
Wrote today. Yeah, today. I mean, the big name, the number that you look at is Patrick Hornquist.
Horny.
As much as the Panthers love him, as much as the fans love him, as much as everybody loves Hornquist, he's got a $5.7 million cap hit, which is almost twice what the Panthers have without Duclair. It's almost twice as the Panthers could double. He's a 4th-line guy now. I mean, he plays 12 minutes a game. Everybody loves his locker room presence. Everybody loves his net fronts presence. But that is quite a luxury to have, a player making that kind of money on a team that has a salary cap concern like the Panthers do. So that could be one that's moved. There could be others, who knows. But again, this will be big because the Panthers want to re-sign Mason Marchment. They want to re-sign Claude Giroux. Can't do that right now, but maybe if you move some money, you can at least start to put those together.
Yeah. So, all right. And it doesn't look like there's that big trade out there for them to add a star that I truly feel they need.
Yeah. Right.
So if there's not, then from within, who's the guy that has to come up from the minors? Who's the guy that has to come up from the bench? Who's the guy that has to be not a star, but a really impactful player next year to help this team take another step forward? Because if you're not going to be able to trade for that stud that I really want them to do,
right,
then what else do they need to do? Because you're telling me, and you've been telling us this already now for several weeks, there's not a lot of flexibility.
There's not, and they don't have any draft capital. That's
Right.
the other thing. When you want to make a blockbuster move, you're going to have to throw in some first-round picks, yada, yada. The Panthers don't have their next 3 draft picks, their next 3 first-round picks, because one went to Buffalo when you got Sam Reinhart. That was your guy. Last year, you gave up your number 1 pick. This year for Sam Reinhart. Huge move. You do it again.
Right.
You gave up the other first-round pick for Ben Sherratt. You gave up the 3rd for Claude Giroux. So now you don't have a first-round pick until, 2026, something like that. So you don't have that to move, and that's what it's going to take to get a blockbuster deal done. They've already done their blockbuster deal, so they're done with that. That said, who could come up? Now, that's very interesting. You've got Grigory Denisenko. He's a guy that was a first-round pick in 2018. He played this season in Charlotte. He had a broken kneecap, missed the second half of the season. He's a guy the Panthers have a lot of. He's got a lot of promise. He's a speedy, skilled winger. He's a guy that might be able to come up and step in and become a nice piece of this puzzle. Or he could be a draft. He could be a trade piece. You know, a lot of teams are very interested in Grigory Denisenko. The skill level is off the charts. And he's still very, very young. I believe he's only 19 or 20 years old. So Grigory Denisenko named to notice. Saron Noel, 6'5". Power forward. He could be a guy that you put on your fourth line if Patrick Hornquist is to go. He's a guy at that size. He's got good hands. His skating needs some work, but on the fourth line, he might be okay there. So, you know, you got Alexei Hepanoemi. He's played a few games here in the NHL, had a nice season in Charlotte. He's a guy that could come up and probably will come up next year because Nola Chari is a free agent. He's probably not coming back. You're going to have some holes here on this team. And some of those young guys, this Husko kid from Boston College, mature kid, he's 23, 24 years old, had a very nice year in Charlotte as well. So the Panthers do have some young players. Now, there's no Jonathan Huberdeau, Sasha Barkovs down there in Charlotte, or they would have been here by now. But you're hoping that a few of them turn into something nice.
Well, I mean, it's kind of my only hope right now because, in a way, if you're the Panthers, brother, the way you're going to sell to this, to the crowd at least, because I'm going to watch no matter what. I've been watching them for years and trying to help sell Panthers to people and get them on the bandwagon, but that average fan or the fan that's even on the other side of the fence, we're not going to bring them over unless you make a deep run into the damn playoffs.
Right. And you've got that team right now. This team is still very, very good. I mean, the core
but the average person still doesn't appreciate what they see right now.
And that's just well, you can't help that then. I mean, what do you can't make trades like getting Sam Reinhart every single year because you don't have first round picks anymore. The Panthers have made those moves. They made those moves to make a deep run this year, and they went to the second round. They still have a very good team. They still have a team that should be in the top three in the Atlantic, if not the best team in the Atlantic. This is still a very good team. And listen, you're talking about Bill Zito, the general manager of this Panther team. When he first took over, a lot of people weren't sure what the Panthers were going to look like. We thought this was going to be the cheapest team in the National Hockey League the way things started. But those players that he brought in were tremendous value, and that was his point the whole time. Carter Verhaeghe. Nobody down here had ever heard of Carter Verhaeghe before. He was a guy that couldn't play for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he scores 20-something goals. They got him for $1 million. Anthony DeClaire. Nobody in South Florida had ever heard of Anthony DeClaire. He got 30 goals last year. So, listen, it's not just Bill Zito. He's got a terrific front office staff. They work in tandem. They've got a lot of scouting going on. The Panthers are going to find value. They don't have money to spend, but they're going to find value. Are they going to be splashed on the front page of the Miami Herald? No, because you're going to be like, okay, well, this guy did such and such in Ottawa. Okay. And then boom, they come to Florida and they fit right in and and who knows? Listen, the first trade that Bill Zito made was unloading Mike Matheson for Patrick Hornquist. That contract was seemingly unmovable. And not only did Bill Zito get Pittsburgh to take it, he got them to also take on another player that he didn't want in Colton Sevier and take on that $1.5 million contract. The guy's has really done a good job as the general manager. Let's give him a week. Let's give him 2 weeks. Let's give him a month and see what he can come up with. Yeah, I mean, the roster that we're looking at right now will not be the Panthers roster on opening night.
Right. All right. I
know what you're saying.
I just want them to succeed.
You want Connor McDavid to come to the Panthers.
Yeah, I want a badass.
That ain't happening. That's just
I want a badass. I want a badass. How about Flip? How about Forsberg?
I don't think that's happening. He's got an 8-year contract extension offer. He's got the max term in Nashville. Even if Florida could bring him in, they can't afford him. So, I mean, there's a salary cap. Vinny Viola's spending the money. These aren't the old Panthers. This isn't
No.
2010
The ownership,
where the
the ownership
Panthers were
group is
barely
badass.
making the floor.
Yeah, no. We got
If
a badass.
they had
one.
$120 million salary cap, I think the Panthers would spend to it. I mean, that's how Vinny
Now,
works.
does Flip want out? Does he want out of Nashville?
And if he does, he'll go somewhere that can pay him a contract commensurate to what Nashville's offering, and Florida can't do that. So unless you get rid of Huberdeau.
That's what I'm saying. There you go. That's what.
So
just out of curiosity.
You've already got so many guys. I mean, there's so many contracts. You can only have so many of those big ticket contracts in the NHL. Because of the COVID. Right now, the Florida Panthers and the rest of the NHL, if COVID doesn't happen, they were thinking that the salary cap now would be at about closer to 90 million, and it's at 82.5. I mean, nothing. A lot of teams have gotten,
and they've made pretty good progress
if you
overall.
told the Panthers that in 2023-22 that the salary cap would be $82.5 million, they would not have signed Sergei Bobrovsky for that money. They would have carved off some of those millions of dollars. Maybe he gets a 7-year at $8 million instead of 10. But they thought that the salary cap was going to grow. A lot of teams did. There are a lot of teams. Tampa Bay. They were all looking ahead, thinking, okay, by 2022, we're looking at $90 million. That would solve a lot of problems. But the NHL's kept it static, and even though revenues are growing,
having said all that, they've done a good job producing revenue. They've actually grown. So I give them a lot of credit.
They lost so much in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, the Panthers were one of the few teams that had fans in the stands for that entire 2021 season.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. They only had 5,000 max. And they were one of the few teams. I think the Florida Panthers led the league in attendance last year.
DeSantis
with 5,000 people in the stands.
The power of DeSantis, baby. Yeah. Giving you some butts in seats. All right, I'll let you go with this. So who would you rather have, Hubie or Flip? Are you better with which one?
You're better with Huberdeau. That's your guy. He's your guy. You sign Huberdeau to an exit. And plus, let's don't forget.
No. Is Hubie the better player?
Yeah. Huberdeau's the better guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's 30 years old when this new contract starts, and you've got him this year for $5.9 million. Huberdeau's money doesn't kick in till the following season. So his money's on the books right now. He's good. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. But if you feel Hubie's a better player than Flip, okay, then it's not worth making. Then it's not worth making the trade. Then.
Yeah, I think you ride with the horse you came in. You got Huberdeau. He's your guy. He's a stalwart. He's your franchise leader and everything. That's who you go with.
Yeah, I can't find another frustrated guy out there. I keep looking and reading articles trying to see, but there'll
be little guys. There'll be somebody that comes in. There'll be a Carter Verhaeghe that the Panthers find. Some guy that was in Las Vegas and couldn't, that the Panthers are finding those guys. They're very good at it too.
Yeah. No, yeah. They've done that very well over the last couple of years. You're right about that. All right. What do you got working on Florida hockey now so they can check you out, my friend?
Well, today we have a story on Patrick Hornquist, the future of him with the Florida Panthers. Obviously, he has one more year left on his contract. Will he play it out here? I don't think so, but we'll see. And tomorrow we're going to talk about Florida not having a first-round pick, but who have been the top players that the Panthers have been able to draft over the past 20 years outside of the first round. They've hit on a few, names, Mackenzie Weegar, Vincent Trocheck, are guys that the Panthers were able to draft outside of the first round. Now the Panthers your core guys have all been the high picks, right? The 1, the 2, the 3, the Barkov, the Huberdeau, the Ekblad. But Florida's been able to find some gems later and they're going to have to find a lot now. Because you
wrote about 64-year-old Joe Thornton. Is he coming back?
I wrote about Joe Thornton. I think that was on Sunday about his future in Florida. Right now, again, we just talked about Patrick Hornquist and what he gives you as a luxury at that kind of money. The Florida Panthers would love Joe Thornton to be there, Udonis Haslem, but they can't afford it.
Exactly. Yeah. Right, exactly. That's kind of what it
So
feels
that's
like.
at FloridaHockeyNow.com as well.
That's right. So check it out at George Richards on Twitter and subscribe to Florida Hockey Now. It's like $3 a month and you get great coverage. He writes his ass off in that.
We're celebrating our third birthday this week.
How about that? Nice.
Thursday, our third birthday, FloridaHockeyNow.com.
We're here celebrating and supporting you, my friend. I appreciate you.
Thank you, my brother.
All right, we'll catch up. We'll catch up next week, George. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Orlando.
You got it. That is your lockdown segment. Lenny Locksmith, all throughout South Florida, down to Miami, all the way up to Port St. Lucie. You call LennyLocksmith.com, man. They know how to get it done there at Lenny Locksmith, baby. They are 855-869-5625. That's 855-869-5625. By the way, our friends in Orlando and Tampa, we also have locations there, and we have one in Phoenix, Arizona, LennyLocksmith.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.